Oh, why is she doing that? Oh, while he's still alive? Hello and welcome to Will Watches. This is Bones and All. So unfortunately, I do know the premise of this film. I don't know if the premise is some sort of twist, if it is like a surprise for the film, but I do know it is this like cannibal love story road trip. I don't know if, you know, the premise is right up at the front or if it is like a twist or something, but I do know that I've heard really good things about this. I've heard some people even say this is Timothée Chalamet's best performance, which is very exciting. Obviously he's worked with Luca Guadagnino before with Call Me By Your Name, and that was a great movie, really emotional as well. And with all the praise it's been getting, I'm really looking forward to this. Before we jump into this, be sure to check out the Patreon page. Over there you can find early access, you can find an extended reaction that has longer clips of the movie, and it will have some uncensored scenes as well. I'm imagining this is going to be quite gory by the nature of the film, so I will probably have to censor a few things, but you could find an uncensored version on Patreon as well. I have to censor it because of YouTube. You can also find a full-length reaction where if you have your own footage, you can watch along with me and just sync up your own footage. And you can also find polls so you can vote for what's next. So yeah, let's just jump right in.
Hey, so my dad's doing inventory all night, and Kim and Jackie are sleeping over. Come too.
No, my dad won't let me.
You said you want to make more friends here.
Okay, new girl in school. Doesn't have many friends yet.
Do you think it's gonna rain tonight?
I think it's supposed to.
If it rains, it might be harder for her to get out. I mean, if she returns all soaking wet, you know.
The man has attempted suicide. I think he realized that.
Is this... what time period is this? That looks like a news report, but it looks older, but I can't tell if that is just because, you know, they can't afford a regular TV and it looks like that because it's on that older TV. Oh, he like fully locks her in. Okay. That's what it looked like. I'm guessing he's super protective, really overbearing. You know, we've only seen her and her father potentially. If the mother was lost, that could explain why he's overbearing like that. It looked like she just left the window open though. That can't be good.
Never mind about your mom. It's none of my business anyway.
Do these two have a bit of a thing here? Obviously, I know it's her and Timothée Chalamet's character. That's like the main romance, right? Oh! Yeah, the way Marin was looking at her, it was kind of like a... I don't know, at first I was like, oh, is it a romance thing or not? But was it just because she wanted to eat her? And is that why the dad like locked her up at night as well? Not to keep her safe and overbearing, but to protect others from her.
In the car in 3 minutes. Whatever you can take in 3 minutes.
Does it mean they're moving again? Is that why they moved in the first place? They were going to get exposed.
When the cops get here, we have to be good and gone.
And what happened to the mum then? I don't know, does the dad have these same urges as her, or is he just like, it's my daughter, I have to support her?
Dad.
Is he run away? Maybe he just, yeah, he can't deal with it anymore. He has to leave her too. What is that? It looks like a certificate, like a birth certificate.
I can't do anything else either. Call the cops or whatever somebody might do in my place.
Yeah, calling the cops is an admission to him being like an accomplice.
I'll tell you everything I know. First time was when you were 3.
I like that it wasn't just a letter, it was like an audio recording, because even if it was a letter, it'd usually be the character voicing over what she's reading anyway. Yeah, so he's just left her with what she needs.
I'm gonna need to see a driver's license or a learner's permit.
All she's got is that birth certificate. So it looks like it is set like in the 90s perhaps. Their computer looks quite old too.
Just to Columbus?
And the fashion of the people around.
Her hands are all chewed up. I thought you were dead too.
A 3-year-old doing that as well.
I fished it out. It was soft like a water gum and had a little hole in it. where an earring would go.
Wow.
I remember thanking God she hadn't been wearing any. You could have choked.
Yeah, so she had already killed someone by the time she was free.
But you got clever. So fucking clever.
We're not hearing that full story yet, that full recording. I feel like that's gonna be throughout the whole film, right? Maybe even the finale, we'll finally hear the last of the recording when he's getting real sentimental or something. Okay, just standing there watching. I mean, my first thought is this is very creepy, but if he is like a predator seeing this young woman, that does give her a justification on killing him, perhaps, if she only goes after predators.
I came looking for you.
Do I know you?
I guess not in the way you mean.
I love this framing, him just in that corner,
I smelled you. You probably smell me.
and half of her face covered by that pillar.
When's the last time you fed?
He can smell that she's a cannibal too.
You can smell lots of things if you know how.
Is there like a whole community of cannibals? I thought he might have had like a little flask of blood or something.
Come on, Missy.
Oh, that's clever. At least something to defend herself with, just in case.
Where are we going?
Just here, someplace dry and safe.
Because you never know, he might be trying to take out the competition, or other cannibals are even more delicious or something.
I smelt you from the yard, little Missy. Come on.
This far?
Part of me is thinking, like, is it a bit more supernatural? The way they act, it almost is like vampires, you know? This extreme sense of smell, they want to consume blood, eat people.
They look like they had a good life.
I don't like that knife. He's dressed like as a hunter kind of thing, isn't he? Or like a fisherman.
I thought you might be hungry.
For hens?
No.
Yeah, what else is in the fridge? We haven't seen the fridge.
Who lives here?
Oh, God, look.
Oh, there's like a family here just asleep.
What do you smell?
Is there someone dead up there?
What do you smell?
I can't tell if he's going to be like this mentor for her, or if he's going to turn on her.
Metallic?
Blood is metallic, yeah. Oh, still alive.
What did you do to
I
her?
found it like that this morning.
You're lying.
Yeah, he did say he was trying to be ethical, he had rules, so she's gonna die anyway.
It'll last a while. Maybe it'll keep you from, doing something you'll regret.
Yeah, I guess do it ethically here instead of having to kill someone.
Yeah, so they found it that way.
Why does he talk in the third person like that? That just to make him even more unsettling? Or does he have like split personality? Oh, that's just a flower pattern on the bed. I thought it was blood. Oh, yeah, she walks in on... There's no way she can she resist after seeing him eating as well? I was wondering if he was going to be a bit more sophisticated about it, because he was cooking earlier. I thought he'd have like body parts in the fridge and would cook them up, that kind of thing. The thing is, she died of natural causes or whatever, but they still have to hide the body, because anyone who runs across it will assume that it was cannibalism she was eating. Oh, he made a bit of a mess. What is that?
It helps me to remember each one. When I began this, I was about
Oh, it keeps the hair.
8. My own granddad. My mama found me afterward, cleaned me up. She told everyone animals got in and did it.
Yeah. You hear like common stories of cats eating their own owners. There's a lot of ways you could explain it away.
And you've been on your own since then?
It's not hard. once someone teaches you,
He have a teacher himself too.
you don't need to be alone.
I notice his hair is braided too. I wonder, is he trying to mirror that, or is he getting his own hair ready to add it to that collection?
Your mama, you mentioned your daddy last night, so I knew he was in the picture. You must be running from him.
Oh, she's not gonna go find her mum and then eat her mum, like not be able to resist the urge. Oh, she's gonna sneak away, okay. As much as it might be nice to have a companion, I feel like it's just a ticking time bomb until he turned on her or something. Did he see where that bus is going though? Did it say on the front?
I don't know if I loved you the way a father should, but I didn't hate you. You ate them. I believed you had to. I don't know why.
Yeah, so the way they're talking about it makes it feel like it's something they have to do. Not necessarily to survive, but it's just something they have to do. I'm not sure how I feel about these title cards showing the state. When they first showed up, I was very confused. I thought it was something wrong with, I don't know, where I was watching it or something. It's just the transparency of them. It doesn't feel like a title card, really. I don't know. Something about it. And it's probably because it's showing the state's initials, and I'm not as familiar as the state with the state's initials as an American watching this would be. To me, I see a red, like IN. I don't know what state that would be. Oh, here's Timmy. Can they smell each other?
Hear this, you dumb
Hey,
hoe.
don't talk to her like that.
Hey!
You're out of control, buddy.
Outside. We're going outside.
He kind of took the fall for that a bit, and that gives her the distraction to steal more, perhaps. If he noticed she was also stealing. That was that Timmy's way of being ethical, killing this asshole. Oh yeah, she can definitely smell it. He doesn't seem to hide it that much though. Not very secure location to do it.
I don't usually talk to anyone after. I don't actually meet many others. I'm sort of glad not to.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm just...
Yeah, he's definitely not as sociable as the other one.
You want to get in for a minute?
She doesn't know if he has the same rule that Sully did about not eating eaters.
I thought I was the only one. Now I meet 2 others in a week.
Yeah, like just how common is it? At first I thought, oh, why is he going to their house? Like, if there's family, they can get the family too. But I guess also, you know, he knows the house will be empty, he can steal stuff. Another way to get money. It said don't need to wait for an invitation. I thought, like, oh, is she gonna go join him in the shower? I guess blood would be left, but there's no evidence of something. That's the guy's own blood, not Lee's.
I've been waiting on this day for a long time.
Okay, does she actually have like some amnesia? Because she was saying this is the first time I'm remembering it, or is it just because she suppressed all of these memories?
He said he could also smell when people are about to die, too.
Actually, I think I might have heard of this guy.
Oh, is he a bit of a legend? Sully's not going to end up being the antagonist here. End up hunting her down.
Does that help? Memorizing their name?
This little girl's eavesdropping in. Is that little girl like also a feeder? She's like listening in.
It'll be cold tonight, but if we keep this truck, we'll get a sheet of plywood for back here.
What's in Kentucky, anyway?
I love this music. It's that simple guitar. That must be Kentucky. So we're gonna go see the little sister.
Okay, I'm gonna take Kayla driving behind the mall. Hope I don't die. I'll bring back some food for us later.
Is Kay's sister like an eater too? I'm worried about, you know, close family members like that. If it gets to a point where you can't resist.
I can't stay, Kayla. I just wanted to take you driving like I said I would.
I fucking hate that you do this.
I mean, obviously he can't stay because he's trying to keep her safe from his own urges and maybe from discovering what he is.
Or in the cafe.
Cafe? At a slaughterhouse?
Oh, he works at a slaughterhouse. Does that like subdue his urges a bit if he works at a slaughterhouse, gets to kill animals. I think it's more the eating side though, isn't it? Not the killing side.
Every one of them has a mom and a dad, sisters, brothers.
Oh, hand on the knee, yeah. He's noticed that.
I don't even know if she's still alive. All I have is the name of the town that she was born in.
I have this feeling maybe she ate the mum in the past and doesn't remember it.
You take our time, see the country. Well, Missouri and Iowa, anyway.
Nice wholesome road trip. They do need to be careful though, because this car is stolen. They could get pulled over for that and found out at some point. Yeah, this music is really great. You know, of course, it's horrible that they're cannibals, but the vibes here, at least for now, when it's just this road trip, are really nice and chill. It's got this great atmosphere.
You're up there on those rocks. Upwind of us.
Upwind,
Nice to meet you, Jake. I'm Leon. That's Maggie.
yeah, pseudonyms.
I mean, I look like the Red Devil at this point. He's just watching me like I'm...
They're talking about it like it's a love story, like love at first sight.
I'm already on my feet and I'm running at him. He pulls a...
Every time they meet a new eater, it makes me uneasy though.
I love it.
Yuzi Morin she's still uncomfortable with this.
You're not one of us?
Abso-fucking-lutely normal! He is.
Okay.
Well, clearly not normal.
Does he get like some sort of sexual thing from it? That's the kind of vibe I'm getting.
Full bones.
When you eat the whole thing, bones and all.
There we go, title drop.
Before, bones and all. And then there's after.
And that's a big meal.
It's impossible what you're talking about. How many people have you eaten? You don't have to do this?
Oh, she doesn't like it because she's only doing it for this urge, where he doesn't have like a reason to.
You remind me of every junkie I ever met. You look like the kind that's convinced himself he's got this under his thumb.
Oh, is he like an even bigger problem? He's a huge junkie, needs to go on a real killing spree. Like every other eater that they've come across on this journey has given off some real weird vibes and just waiting for one of them to turn on them. Yep, he's already awake. I'm finding it really hard to get a read on these other eaters, you know? On like, oh, are they gonna attack them? Are they just friendly? Even then, you know, the vibes were off. I think it's purposeful to put you on edge the entire time they're with other eaters. But then potentially if Lee is a problem, they've made us feel comfortable around Lee. That'd be a good twist perhaps. I thought that could have gone a bit worse there, like them being attacked as they were leaving, but he just chased after them. Yeah, and the contrast is so great between the lovey-dovey, you know, cool road trip movie and the subject matter.
Maybe he's right. Maybe I should pray that I wake up one day, find they build a maze around me.
Don't say that. He's wrong.
Yeah, that's the thing. She's got Lee here as this influence.
Never say anything.
Nothing good.
Oh, he definitely ate his dad.
Except in my case, I gave him the tape.
Oh, really? Obviously, this is all just to lure him in, yeah. Or not. I mean, you would have killed him as soon as you had the chance, as soon as you got him vulnerable. Or was part of it just like doing it as weakest right as he climaxed? Oh, I hate the way the skin moves. So will these two ever go bones and all? Or like saving it for the mum, maybe? I was wondering if there would be any jealousy there, even though it seemed like Lee was mainly just doing that to lure the guy in.
Mary, you okay?
Yeah, it's just synced in. He has a whole family. He's got a mum and little sisters, it looked like.
We didn't know. Hey, we didn't know. Okay.
Was that a mum and sisters, or was that like a wife and kids? He seemed too young.
Alright, we gotta go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Focus. Focus. Come on. Let's go.
Oh yeah, if his car is right there as well, that's going to be really off for them. They've just seen this van pull away from his car and his car shouldn't be here. And she left the lights on, which will make it more obvious.
There wasn't a car seat, Mary. He wasn't wearing a wedding ring.
Okay, so he was married.
It's too much. Well, we got 60, 70 years of this.
Yeah, it's not a lifestyle you can sustain. Oh? Did she ever hurt the dad? Or was the dad an eater too, who could like resist his urges more? I'm very caught up on this mum, if there's something with going on with the mum.
Thanks.
There was a weird look that shopkeeper gave right at the end there. She didn't have blood on her hands still that she forgot to clean up, and it was noticed.
Sorry to surprise you like this. You didn't know your daughter had a child, I guess?
Okay, this is her grandma.
It's a lot of years now, and it's nothing I want to tell you about. I hope you can respect that.
Well, I'm her daughter.
Yeah, she kind of has to know.
You don't know anything about her biological parents?
No, nothing. Except what they did to their baby. I mean, she could have froze.
Oh, okay, leaving her. I thought maybe she was going to say they ate like another baby or something, and it was like, you know, genetic.
And I need to know, so please, Mrs. Kearns, please.
Then ask her yourself.
Oh, she is actually alive.
In a state hospital there. And we didn't put her there, if that's what you're thinking. She signed her own papers.
Okay, so it could be genetic passed down from the mum. Mum hurt someone, put herself in a mental hospital to try and cope with it. But does that grandmother, it seems like the grandmother could sense the vibes. Something was off. She knows that Murren is a cannibal too.
Why was it ever one?
Aggression towards staff, self-harm, but long ago.
But this could be triggering for her and start it all up again, perhaps. Oh.
It's Murren.
Missing an arm.
Can't she speak?
It's a medication.
Is she scared of Murren? Is she the reason she lost her arms?
She knew I'd come.
But yeah, this might not be the nice moment she's looking for. Yeah, it looks like she's like trying to escape, get away from her.
I promised I would never hurt either of you, but
And that's why she left.
all I ever wanted in this world was love. I tried.
Is that a bite mark on her face as well?
The world of love wants no monsters in it.
And she says that she is obviously a cannibal too.
So let me help you out of it.
Oh! Miss Kearns put herself in there to protect Murren, but was that an attack on Murren because she realised what she was and wants to protect, you know, other people as well?
She's one of us. She's one of us, but she's fucking nuts. She ate her own fucking hands.
Yeah, it's her own hands, okay.
If she stayed, she might have hurt you, Mary, or worse, you might not even be here right now.
Yeah, exactly. She was doing it for the protection.
This is better than what I went through.
Please just stop fucking talking.
It's just, the grass is always greener on the other side. Oh. Yeah, she's leaving him. Oh, she's leaving all that behind as well. Can he he smell her out potentially? Oh, no way.
Beautiful, beautiful brown eyes.
Yeah, I thought he'd come back up.
You've been following me since Frederick?
Yeah, this whole way he's been following.
Oh, just a friend. Maybe he didn't get that telegram.
It's weird that you've been following me.
It's only been a couple of weeks. Life will get weird, I promise. I promise.
Yeah, only been stalking you for a few weeks. Not that weird.
I'm a girl.
I know, about my daughter's age, if I had one.
Yeah, they could pretend to be father and daughter.
Not trying to upset you. No, you drove a long way. I don't feel comfortable with this.
Yeah, she needs to tread lightly.
Fuck you, Missy. You dumb cunt!
Yeah, he just flips like that the second he doesn't get what he wants. Oh, could Sully go after Lee out of jealousy? Oh, well, that might have been Sully getting in the car.
I love you.
That's so unsettling with that. It's like the sound of someone dying in the background. Who was that flashes of? It looked like the two they had with the campfire, you know? That one that was the police.
This time I can, yeah. Hey, what do you think about hitting the kingdom when I'm back going for a driver?
Oh, this sounds bad. This sounds like a Death Omen. He's saying about how he'll get back home and he actually won't. Oh, all the way in July. It was May before. Oh, she's come to find him.
He comes into town when he wants to. And he's just going through something, I guess.
I thought he might have been isolating himself, trying to get off it all.
I wondered why he's been staying. I guess he was hoping that he'd show up.
Oh yeah, part of that montage was probably him realizing he was in love with her.
Blood on Lee. So they had to put him in a holding cell so they could test it. But it was all Lee's blood. It was all bullshit and they had to let him go.
Okay, it was all Lee's blood. I mean, the assumption there is that Lee ate him, but potentially not. Unless, did Lee get it from his dad? Just like Moran did. The thing is, like, hugs and kisses like that so often could also look like someone biting a neck, you know?
By the way, those guys were saying we should have 2 days of water with us in case the engine gives out.
Yeah, so they really are in the middle of nowhere.
There must have been a lot of blood on you for the cops to bring you in.
You want to know, Marin? He came for me, okay? He tried to rip me open with his teeth.
Yeah.
That's the first time I ever smelled it on someone.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so they both inherited it from their parents.
Put it in the car, and I drove to this barn about a mile outside of town that I knew was abandoned.
Oh, did he go bones and all with him?
I duct taped the shit out of him too, everywhere except his nostrils, so he could breathe.
Oh, okay. So he's still alive in there for a little bit at least.
I ate him right the fuck up.
Well, the way the music changed there.
I felt high as a motherfucker.
It's like this really sincere music and then this creepy violin cutting in as well. I really don't know how to feel.
You can get a place, jobs, you know, like people do.
Just settle down instead of...
Let's be people.
Yeah, let's be them for a while.
Only for a while though. Thought it was gonna end just there, but we're getting this. I don't know if this makes me uneasy that something is gonna come up, something's gonna happen, or if this is just a nice montage, they lived happily ever after. Oh! That isn't... Yeah, oh my god. Is that Sully's bag? Yeah, Sully's bag. He's still following. Ooh.
Because Sully's a friend, and we don't scream at friends.
Yeah, Sully just seems like emotionally stunted, you know. The way he talks like he's a child.
I saw him walk out of here half an hour ago.
Okay, so at least he hasn't gotten Lee.
Ever since I drove away from you.
What does that mean?
Oh, his mouth's watering, yeah.
What I mind is how much you know about him.
Yeah, it's a liability.
You're the one who told me you don't kill any... You don't kill?
No, he said he doesn't eat eaters.
They never took me serious.
Oh, this is just so uncomfortable.
Stop calling yourself Sully.
Oh, I just kind of gave it away. Okay. That was good, he had that bag. Where did that knife go? I saw it swing, I thought I heard a grunt. Okay, no, no one's been stabbed. Oh, she had to bite him to get it off, but that triggered her. See, they could just go to the police like normal people, say she was being assaulted, but I feel like they're not. They're just gonna eat him, right? Oh, I love that. The contrast. I don't know like how normal of a life they were living out here. Were they actually eating anyone out here? Oh, Sully's still moving. Still alive. Ooh. Oh, why is she doing that? Oh. While he's still alive? What was it she grabbed? Like an intestine or something? I feel like they're not going to be able to resist, are they? And this has just upended their life here, potentially.
I smelled him 2 blocks from here. Fuck, did you find him?
Oh! That's Kayla's hair, isn't it? Did he get hit too? Ah, right in his heart.
We gotta go to the ER. Air is coming out of this. I can see.
Yeah, and he's seen it.
Call an ambulance, Lee. We can't let anybody in here.
I feel like you might be able to explain it away. I don't know.
I want you to eat me.
No.
I want you to do it, Barrett.
Lee, stop. No.
Bones
no,
and all.
Bones and all.
Just love me and eat.
I think you always had a feeling all alone. In a world.
Oh, yeah, is she gonna go for him?
In a place we shouldn't be. For a minute.
They do a great job with the juxtaposition of the visual and the music. Oh, that's it all clean. What was that? Under the bed? I thought it was going to be like maybe that was her after she cleaned everything up and there was like one little bit of evidence. Or was it just symbolism for like the monster under the bed kind of thing? Okay, so that was Bones and All. I wasn't quite sure what that was at the end where it went like under the bed, because I'd seen there's something white like laying there and I wasn't quite sure what that was. At first I was like, is that a strand of hair, a bit of evidence, a bit of bone? But it wasn't a bone, it was too snaky. I think what the end there was signifying was under the bed, the monster under the bed, and her embracing becoming the monster perhaps, and her eating Lee is kind of that final trigger, maybe something that pushed her over the edge. Obviously, she wanted to live this happy life with Lee at the end there, potentially not being a cannibal anymore, but now she doesn't have that. Maybe she will just go on a rampage, or, you know, live life how like Sully and Lee were living life before, where they're just going around road tripping, finding people, eating them, that kind of thing. I really liked the kind of sincerity that the film is presented in. You know, you could hear this concept and think, oh, it's just some like pulpy horror kind of thing. But Luca Guadagnino, he has this real kind of tenderness and care in the filmmaking, and it's got this real sincerity about it. You know, it's not just this shocking horror film, it's more of a love story, really, and kind of the struggle of not knowing who you really are. You know, the kind of tone shifts and juxtaposition here are really great. We have loads of scenes of just montages with really calm music, these beautiful landscapes. It seems Luca does love kind of nature. I'm assuming this was filmed on film as well. These kind of shots of nature, the natural light coming in, there's a lot of shots of trees and things like that, and it all looks beautiful. As I said, it has this kind of tenderness to it in the filmmaking, but then you contrast that with the subject matter, which is obviously extremely dark, and there are moments where it does get dark and it does get scary and on edge and suspenseful, you know. But I think that contrast works really well, and it seems like there's also that contrast in other aspects of the filmmaking, like in the music as well. There's this music where it's just this like little guitar, it's really calm and relaxing, and that is what they play when there's these loving moments. But then you also have this like creepy violin coming in, and there's that moment with Sully where they're playing that music, that loving music, and where Sully just kind of flips there, and that violin, that creepy violin comes in and interrupts it. It's really great, all of the kind of juxtaposition in here. So I have seen people talk about this being a queer love story, and of course we see Lee. I don't know if he was actually bisexual or if he was just using that guy for a kill. And we also see with Moran, when she is right at the start, she's giving this like loving look to this other girl before she bites the finger. Of course there's like, maybe the characters are queer, but, and there's also like the metaphor, and I do need to like, obviously huge disclaimer, it's not a perfect metaphor. You know, it's like a metaphor for people who view themselves as monsters. And there's a lot of identities where you might view yourself as a monster, or outsiders would view you as a monster. And I feel like that's something a lot of queer people can relate to. But of course, it's not a perfect analogy, because in this film they were actual monsters and they were doing objectively bad things, where actual queer people, there is nothing objectively bad about queerness itself. There might be queer people that do bad things, but it's not the queerness that is the bad, you know? That's disclaimer out of the way. This isn't a perfect metaphor or a perfect analogy, but I feel like people who have experiences where they would view themselves as monsters can relate to this. People, you know, if you have gender dysphoria, or you live in a place where being queer isn't accepted, or even just, you know, having body image issues, feel like the way this talks about it, people can relate to it. And, you know, relating to the characters, how at some points they're depressed because of what they're going through, how sometimes they just want to end it all because of what they're going through. Again, it's not a perfect metaphor, because in the real world you should embrace your actual identity, but here they're cannibals by embracing their identity, like she does at the end there, potentially, depending on the interpretation. That's a bad thing, because she's gonna go on a killing spree potentially, you know. And I feel like because this is directed by Luca Guadagnino, who, I don't know if he's gay or if he's bi, but he's dating a man, so that kind of gives some, you know, backbone to that. He's probably drawing from his own experience, feeling ostracized perhaps. I do wonder the timeline of this, or if it's just a weird coincidence with Armie Hammer and that whole thing where Armie Hammer was like accused of being a cannibal. I don't know, like, did Luca decide to direct this after? And I know this is like a book adaptation. Was this just in the works and it was just this crazy coincidence that it turns out Armie Hammer could also potentially be a cannibal? I don't know all of the details about what happened with Armie Hammer, but that is just a weird coincidence. So I did have this feeling kind of throughout that Sully would return, which he did. It just seemed like too much setup with him. Every like other cannibal that they met, I assumed things would turn bad with. I found it quite hard to get a read on them. I think that was on purpose. They wanted to make you feel uneasy. Were they actually being friendly, or did they just have this guise up where they were pretending to so they could get in close and then eventually kill and eat them? I don't know if those two that they sat by the campfire with were also, because when they, you know, drove off, he chased them down, so maybe they were still planning to get them in their sleep perhaps. But a lot of the film, you were kind of on edge. I did actually kind of expect it to end after we'd found out Lee's backstory to do with his father. You know, we had Lee's backstory, we had a bit of a montage. It was kind of a happy ending, and it could have ended there, but it didn't. Sully made his return, which I feel like I like both endings. If it had just ended there, I would have liked it still, but I did like the ending we got with Sully making the return. I think it did tie things up a bit better. I think it did tie things in a bit more, because Sully was just kind of this loose thread. You know, you could tell from the start there was something off about him. He seemed kind of emotionally stunted, where, you know, he talks in the third person. Obviously he says me, but then he also says Sully. Like, he says Sully doesn't like this. Is that him trying to disassociate with this cannibal personality? And even just the way he talks, he kind of talks like a child, doesn't he? You know, he's saying, oh, I don't like that. Just the way he talks is very infantilizing, I guess, or infantilized. And again, kind of going back to the queerness, there is also, you know, quite obviously this connection with like sexuality and the sexualness of it. Like when Sully makes his return, when he is like laying on top of her, it's quite obviously like drawing comparisons to her being assaulted. This video will probably be demonetized anyway, but I'm not going to say the R word. But you can clearly see, you know, the visuals there, him laying on top of her like that. And, you know, they also kind of use sexuality as a way to get to their victims, like Lee did with the guy who had the family. But I also think just in general in filmmaking, in like films that I have seen that deal with cannibalism, they do kind of sometimes shoot it in a like sensual way, focusing on like their characters eating but then like moaning, and you know, there is kind of a connection there a little bit as well. I did really love the love story here as well. Of course, that is one of the main focuses. I thought Timothy Chalamet and Taylor Russell, they had some good chemistry. You know, the film could have probably worked as just a love story between the two, removing the cannibalistic elements from their characters. The characters still could have related to each other, and there could have been like a good love story there. It's just this happened to be a cannibalistic story as well, you know. I did also like the mystery element here to do with both of their parents. Obviously Marin going to find her own mother. You know, there's a lot of mystery of what could have happened there. There was a few things that I thought could have happened, like she had eaten her own mother, and of course it is revealed for both Lee and Marin that they have actually like inherited it from their parents perhaps. But like the mystery around that was really fun to, I wouldn't say fun to discover, but it was like cool to theorize about. And when it's actually revealed, you know, there's a lot of emotional weight there, especially with Lee's, him telling us all about what happened with his dad. But then also, you know, meeting the mother, you see she doesn't have her hands, and you wonder, oh, what happened? Did Maureen eat them when she was a baby and can't remember? Or we find out what actually happened. It was the mother eating her own hands. I'm guessing just either as a way to like stop herself, but also maybe it was just like a way to cope, because she did this whole thing where she had locked herself away to protect her child, to protect her husband. But of course Maureen, she resents her for that because she thinks she could have been a mentor to her, or just helped her understand her own, you know, identity here, help her understand herself. But I think her mum probably did do the right thing, but I don't know if that isolation they said she was in there for like 15 years, right? Did that isolation drive her crazy? You know, like she was there, she was, you know, on medication, on all of these things. Did the isolation there drive her like that? Or was she already like that? Or was it brought on by, you know, her urges and her thinking, I don't want to do this to my own daughter? Because when she wrote the letter, right? But it seems like she was in a much better state when she wrote the letter, when she first went into that institution, right? So maybe it just was that isolation. And obviously she wrote the letter when she still had hands. This actually wasn't as gory as I thought it would be. Obviously, especially towards the end, there is a lot of gore. I react quite viscerally to gore, but I think a lot of it you don't see too much. There's not too much like guts and things. There's a few points where you see like ripping of the skin, and I think the worst for me was with Sully, when she like dug her finger into Sully and she like pulled out like a bit of intestine or something. That was disgusting. I thought she was gonna like pull something out and eat it in front of Sully, like pull out his own heart and eat it in front of her. And I think like again with Sully, you can never really tell if the vibe was just him wanting to have someone else who is like him with him, or if it was like a more sexual thing, or if it was like at one point she said it was like a father-daughter kind of thing, like he never had that relationship, so he was kind of yearning for that type of relationship. But I mean, again, that is kind of leaning into the like sexual metaphor here as well. I wouldn't say he was unaware of his own strength, but he was unaware of himself and his creepiness up until the end there, when he was just overtly creepy. But you also see how he kind of flips like a switch the second that Maureen like rejects him. He does kind of have this like nice guy mentality a little bit. He was being kind to her until he didn't get what he wanted, and then he flips on her, calling her misogynistic slurs and things, you know, and then comes back at the end when he doesn't get what he wants, and there's all of that visual similarity to sexually assaulting someone. So I think he does feel like he fits that nice guy mentality. It felt like at some points he didn't really fully understand everything and the context of why he was being creepy, even though he was a cannibal. But in relation to kind of the more sexual side, he didn't really realize that. It was weird with Sully, wasn't it? He's definitely the type of person where you meet them and you're kind of on edge around them, and if you need to tell them bad news, you struggle with that. You don't know what to say. I feel like I have had experiences where I feel uncomfortable around someone where they've given me like similar vibes to Sully. You know, when someone like comes up to you in the street and is trying to talk to you and get money off you or something, and you have to turn them down, but you can tell like maybe if you turn them down they might get angry at you. That kind of vibe is very uneasy. But then also looking at it through the lens of being a woman with Maureen, the consequences of that are even worse. It's a lot harder for a woman to turn down a guy like that because of how he might react. I did mention it during the reaction, but I'm not too sure how I feel about the title cards. I don't know what it is about them. I just didn't feel like they fit, especially the vibe, because it's set in this like 80s, 90s, which I wasn't expecting. I thought it would just be modern day. But I don't know, they just didn't feel like they fit. The way they were like transparent, it almost felt like something else. And I think part of that might just be because I'm not American. I just saw like 2 letters appear on my screen and thought, oh, it's my computer giving me a warning or something, or what's going on here? But it was just like the abbreviated states, right? Maybe it's just because I'm not as familiar with those abbreviations that it didn't clock with me straight away for what it is. I don't know if there's other people that had that same problem. It might just be a me thing or a European thing. I was also wondering, you know, how different characters would try and justify it. At first I thought Lee was only going after like assholes or people that deserved it. You know, he definitely did in the gas station with that first kill that we see of him, but then later on he does start like using people. The guy who was married and had a family, there wasn't like anything inherently wrong that he did, apart from owning like a carnival game. I mean, carnival game owners, they're a bit scummy, they do scam you, but I don't think it was quite that deserved. But then we see with like Sully as well, he did actually have a code, you know, he didn't eat other eaters, he tried to be moral about it, you know, only going after people, finding people like as they were dying. I did also think at the end there, you know, could she have phoned an ambulance and phoned the police and like tried to talk her way out of it? You probably could explain it away a little bit with just saying, oh, someone came into my house, they broke in, they tried to assault me, which is basically true, and then in self-defense we fought back. Maybe it's a bit of a push to say it was self-defense because they like dragged his body to the bath and everything, they didn't try to escape, so the self-defense thing might not hold up completely in court, but it feels like they probably could have gotten away with it just about, perhaps. But I think at that point, with all of that kind of blood around, it was also potentially too irresistible for her. She kind of had to give in. You know, could she have resisted all that waiting for police to come, or would they show up and she's just like munching on someone? And you know, this kind of setting of the road trip, it's also a bit of a metaphor there of running away but maybe not being able to escape. Lee kept running away, but he had to keep returning for his sister, even though, you know, her sister, she uses the F slur against him. I mean, that's another thing pointing to kind of the metaphor of queerness as well, and like having to flee a family that doesn't accept you, but also this feeling of loving your family despite what they do to you, because they are your family. It's very hard to just leave that for some people. I know some people, you know, if they are outed by their family, they do just have to leave, but you'd much rather obviously have a loving family that you can return to. And I think at one point they do use the term outing when Sully and Morin are talking to each other. She was like, oh no, I'm not going to out you. They do use that terminology. But yeah, this like road trip, that's like them running away, and they're also kind of running away from their responsibilities, but also running away potentially from who they are, but they have to keep returning. Lee had to keep returning, and they had to keep returning to eat. There was at one point I was wondering, you know, are they just cannibals, or is it something a bit more than that? Is it like secretly they're actually vampires? Just because obviously the way they talk about it, it is like they are addicted. I think there could be some metaphors there for addiction, for drug addiction too. I think there's a lot of things you can project onto this, right? But I was wondering, like, the way they talk about it, is there actually something a bit more supernatural? Do they actually need to eat for sustenance? The way they talk about it is like it is something they physically need, otherwise they will die almost. It's not just they have this urge and they can go without it if they really had the willpower. It doesn't really seem like that. It seems like it is like something intrinsic that they actually need to survive. It was like the options were locking yourself up, embracing it, or killing yourself. There wasn't like a fourth option of trying to live with it and keep it a secret, which I think they did actually try and do at the end there before Sully kind of interrupted their happy ending. I was actually surprised of how common the cannibalism was here as well, like how many people they ran into that were also cannibals. I was wondering if they'd also like run into like a bigger group, like a community or something, like find a sense of community somewhere. Occasionally they do find this like sense of community. It's like sometimes they feel safe. I don't think Moran ever truly felt safe around the other cannibals apart from with Lee, but it seemed like Lee did seem safe with the two around the campfire. One of them was named Brad, I think. It seemed like he did kind of feel safe there, but she was constantly on edge. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, consider leaving a like or a comment. And if you really loved it, be sure to subscribe so you can keep up to date for all of future uploads. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.